My name is Wendy Hendry, and I've done a lot of videos and a lot of speaking presentations, and I don't think I've ever been as nervous as I am filming this one, even though I'm sitting in my own kitchen. I think the reason is because the information that I'm going to share with you is so important, and I'm hoping that it reaches 7 billion women so that you guys can know that you have the power. I know you're probably skeptical, and I know because I've been there. I was a binger for 35 years, and I did every diet known to man. I tried everything, watched videos, nothing worked until I found this one simple, amazing piece of information. So here goes. There are two voices in your brain. You know what I'm talking about, right? I'm going to use food because that's my story, but really this applies to anything. You have the voice that's saying, eat the cookie, and then you have the voice that's saying, you probably shouldn't eat the cookie, right? You have the voice that is the voice of pleasure. You have the voice that is the voice of reason. In my book, I turn this voice of pleasure the brat. So I'm just going to continue to refer to it as the brat. And then this part is like the higher brain, the prefrontal cortex. Anyways, what I want you to understand is that this prefrontal cortex has so much more power than this part of your brain. This lower part of your brain, this brat, it really is just a primal part of your brain in charge of your survival instincts. It's the same brain that the animals have. And when a tiger goes to eat, does it stop and think, is that antelope going to make me fat? No, it just goes and it kills. We have that same brain back here. It's the first part of our brain to develop, and it's called the limbic system, or the brat. And this part of the brain only wants pleasure. It wants to feel good. It wants to get high, whatever. This part of our brain, on the other hand, this part doesn't grow in until you're in your mid-20s. So if you have teenagers, that kind of makes a lot of sense, right? The impulsive part of their brains develop, but the logic part isn't. And so this part of our brain develops about in our mid-20s, and that's the part of the brain that's really us. The part of the brain that makes all of our decisions. It's the logical part of our brain. It's the part of our brain that's saying, if I eat that cookie, am I going to be wearing it on my butt tomorrow? Here's what you need to understand, that this part of our brain, the brat, is literally a brat. It's like a little kid throwing a temper tantrum in the Walmart. It has no power. Just like I have 8 kids, just like when my kids threw a temper tantrum in the Walmart, they wanted like a $20 toy. They don't have $20 to buy the toy. This part of our brain, it can't lift a fork. It can't lift a cigarette. It can't lift a drink. It can't do anything. It's this part of our brain that does all of that. And so what is the best thing to do when a kid is in the Walmart throwing a temper tantrum? You ignore it, right? You ignore it. And guess what? You can. You can ignore it because this part of your brain has all the control. There's some techniques and stuff that help, but we've been told for how many decades that addiction, that food addiction, that binging, eating disorders, any of drug addiction, any of this stuff is an illness, is a disease. It's not. What that does is it gives this lower part of your brain an excuse to go ahead and do whatever it wants to do to have that pleasure. This brat is going to throw out all kinds of excuses. It's going to say, oh, it's okay to eat that because you can start again on Monday. Or, oh, it's okay, it's so-and-so's birthday, you're going to a party, so it's okay to eat 7 dozen cookies. This part of our brain is going to be throwing out excuse after excuse. One of those excuses is, well, this is a disease, so you really can't help it. You really do have to stick your face into that pizza box and snort up the whole thing. I heard those excuses. I used those excuses for years and years and years. The second I found out that I don't have excuses because this part of my brain is the part that's me, the part that's in the part that's in control. It changed everything for me. And so I want you now to take a few minutes and just see if you can hear those two different voices going on. Maybe you're hungry, maybe you're thirsty, maybe you're cold, whatever it is. I teach fitness classes. I have my students, when they're in plank, I make them hold plank. As soon as you start hearing, you gotta quit, That's that lower part of your brain. Really, you can always go a little bit farther. It's up to this part. And so what you need to do is start listening to those two voices, and then whenever you hear this back one throw out one of those excuses, you just tell that brat, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna ignore you, not this time, okay? You can also just distract it. Like with my kids in the Walmart, I knew that if I just plain said, no, you can't have the candy bar, that they would go crazy. And so a lot of times I would say, sure, you can have that candy bar. First, let's go check out, or first let me go to the bathroom. Whatever you need to do to distract it. It reminds me of a story with my daughter Chloe, my youngest. She wanted a pet monkey once. Chloe is so stubborn, so stubborn. She was the worst Walmart tantrum thrower of all of my 8 kids. Anyways, she wanted a monkey for a pet, and my husband knew that if he told her you can't have a monkey, that we'd never hear the end of it. So instead he said, sure, you can have a monkey for a pet. You know, as soon as you find one, I'll let you have a monkey. We never heard about it again. So distraction is a good thing to do with this brat. So find some reason to distract it. You got to go get the mail. Sure, I can have that donut as soon as I go get the mail, or as soon as I go to the bathroom. Or you can just say, I'm sorry, I'm going to ignore you right now. And eventually that voice, that addiction voice back here starts to get quieter and quieter and quieter. And it takes a little bit of time. And there are a few techniques that can help make it a little easier to get through those first little bits of cravings and stuff. And I have a 7-habit course that can help you do that. So I'll put that information somewhere, wherever this video is going, in a link that you can hook to that. Another thing that you can do, I have a Facebook group that's amazing. And you can click on whatever link I'm going to put wherever and join my Facebook group. It's totally free. I'm in there all the time doing live videos, trying to work a little bit more with these two voices and making this voice stronger, and it is possible to make this voice stronger. Anyways, join my Facebook group and get to know me. I'm excited to get to know you. Share the video, whatever we need to do. Let's just get the information out. That addiction, food addiction especially, and I'm speaking from experience, it's not an illness. It's not a disease. We have control, because I'm telling you, if I could stop 35 years of binging, anybody can stop. I was terrible. I could easily consume 10,000 calories in a binge. If I can do it, you can do it. I know you can.